looking for, how are we doing? In an hour, you guys could probably replace me, and that's if I did my job right. So first thing I did this morning, these are our South Pole bulls. I walked through the pen there. Doug and I and Steve did. Steve's our scorekeeper over here. If you can't hear me, come closer. I went into the bulls and I said, okay, I need to find the best 1, 2, or 3 bulls in the pen here, and I think this is the best one. Do you agree, Doug? Still? Yes. Okay. And the reason we want to find the best one is if we start out with an average bull and we score him too high, we're messed up for the rest of the day. So we start with the best bull. He's our benchmark. Everything else is related to him. And once we get started, we're going to be, I think we can be very consistent. I've been to the Colorado World Work Days in Nebraska and Montana, and now here, we're looking at a different type of animal here, but I think we can still be very consistent from one saddle to another. Steve is our scorekeeper, has been at all 4 of our evaluation days. Rob and Al are going to help. Weston could if he's around.
I couldn't hear you from the bull.
Well, get up here where I can talk to you. Oh, well, that's nice of you. Okay, you can come in here if you want.
You want me in there?
Not really, but you can.
No.
Come on, Weston.
I've been in. Hey.
So while you're looking
She's
there,
on it. She's all over it.
Okay, she's all over that. And you can tell her if she's high or low or whatever.
No idea.
So what catches my eye when I first look in there is masculinity. You know, this guy just jumped out at me. I look around him and said, well, he doesn't have a hole. You know, but masculinity is the first thing we score. Steve will ask, he'll say masculinity or mass, and then thickness, and then muscle. He'll just go down the list. In the olden days, this is way back when, I had the clipboard and I did the evaluating, and it was a mess trying to keep up with yourself. And after about 30 bulls, you just got mad at yourself. So what we're doing now, somebody offered, I don't remember where it was, somebody offered to keep scores. Do you remember where that might have been?
Probably Doug Palmer in Colorado.
Yeah, I don't remember, but that's been a lifesaver. That allows us to keep our eye on the bull and not the paper. So masculinity, I'm looking for a bull head, not a steer head. I'm looking for a neck that's wider than the head with a really pronounced crest on top. We like to let him stop, get the head up in the air like that. Anywhere we would have been, that's a 5+ masculinity. Do you agree, Rob? I mean, that bull's the top. I mean, we're not just giving him 5, we're going to top it off with a 5+. And then thickness, basically, I'm not concerned about the muscle, I'm concerned about the depth, the width across the top, and that volume. You know, I like to, when he's walking away from me, I like to see his belly sticking out beyond his butt. Now these bulls won't be as thick as our red and black Angus maybe, but that's as thick a bull as you're going to find anywhere. Well, he's not sticking out like he is, but he's not like what we've seen, right, Rob? Or you haven't?
Right. The others have a little more spring of ribs, what I would say.
We saw some in Nebraska that I've never seen spring of rib that much, and Steve can concur. But you know, I'm looking at thickness, and I look back at the other bulls that he came out of. I'm probably going to have to go 5+ again. You okay with that, Al?
Yeah.
What are you guys looking at?
Got a knot.
Okay. Not behind his left knee, front left knee. Guaranteed not to be a problem. We try to notice these things so that when you guys notice them, we've already seen it. So thickness is volume, width, depth, pounds per inch of height. Muscle, I'm going to get a glance at this side profile. That's where most people look for muscle. We look at it in the rear end. When that bull walks away, I want to see a lot of bulge out here. I want to see it deep and wide in the quit. can't just sit there and look at him, Al.
Hey, Kit, would you explain the 1 through 5 as far as the scoring?
Yeah, well, 5's best. If we see any 2s, they're probably out, and a lot of 3s are going to be out. I mean, so Al's not talking yet. This is his first rodeo.
At least a
Okay. I'm going to talk about something else here later. 5 plus. Yeah. You go 5 plus thickness. So I mean that's our. You just don't need any more muscle than that. That bull's got it all. And then the overall rating, right?
Yep.
I'm not averaging up our scores, but when this bull comes around the corner, I love him. And that's my overall rating. So I'm going to say 5 plus. Again. And then what?
Hair flies.
Hair color flies. We like to see, and I need to see some other bulls, or you go look at some other bulls. The hair coat we like is short, shiny, slick. You know, if we're in the sun, I like to have some, which we don't have right now, but I like to be almost reflective to where I can see my reflection in it. So, based on what I'm seeing out here, you know, he's a 4 plus or 5 minus. What do you say, Al?
Well, I haven't seen him.
Well, turn around.
Well, I know. But Doug's already scored him.
No, we're going to score him today.
Go score him again.
Doug already scored these for hair and flies. I suggested that since our crew is doing it and all these other sales that we do it here too.
Yeah, that's it.
So hair coat first.
There it goes. Right, 5.
Minus. 5 minus. I mean, you can't criticize that very much, but a little. And the flies, I'm going to say he's probably got a heavier fly load than the rest of them. You know, let's call this guy a 3. You know, this is going to be about average. Flies love testosterone. So the more masculine bulls tend to have more testosterone, tend to have more flies. That's why, you know, your herd sire, no matter who bred that herd sire, is going to have more flies than the cows because he's got testosterone. Now, the one thing that we've noticed, and we're working on in one of our programs, is some light-colored animals, and coloring seems to be, blacks have more flies than reds. If you get a tan, buckskin, or white animal, they don't have very many flies in our program. Now, I've seen Charolais that look black with flies, but our light-colored animals don't have it. That's a good picture, Dana.
Hey, Kit, hair coat, 5 minus. What's not slick?
Well, if he had this, it's just a little longer back here on his rear end, just a little longer.
When they get above that, it'll be just like it is up on his back and shoulder all the way down.
Al called him a 5, and I could probably go with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think
We're not going to find much any better than that.
But you're going to have to find some of those down there in Weston's group that have a lot more shine to them. Are they just going to all be 5 pluses then?
Well, that's why we'll call him a 5 minus.
Yeah.
That's a little bit tough too. They're in the sun, he's in the shade. So you know, if you're looking out
we
there,
went through that at Colorado.
Yeah. Usually one end or the other has got sunshine, one's got shade, and you almost have to refer to the guy that has the sunshine because that's where it's at. The other thing I'll point out is that we normally have 2 guys at that end, 2 guys at this end, and sometimes we have some heated discussions, but I don't want Steve to write anything down until we are in somewhat of an agreement. If I say 4 minus, and Al said, whoa, what are you looking at? And then we have to discuss this until we come to a conclusion. Again, back in the old days where I did it by myself, or Gary Rhodes and I did it, it's hard to stay consistent if you don't have enough people to keep you on track. And you know, Rob and I have worked together one deal this year. Al and Weston haven't, but it won't take them 5 bulls and they'll be right up to speed where Rob and
Angle toes.
I are. 5 minus 3. Angle toes. You're going to do our angle toes. Or both of you guys can. What I want, see the angle of that foot? The leg comes down and the angle. The proper angle is a 5. If it's too straight like a show steer, that's a 4. If it's too soft, that's a 6. The toes is going to be, I like parallel toes. If we start seeing toes that come out like this, that's a 5. If they spread, that's a 4. If you start to see some curve, that's a 6. And I'll tell Al what we've decided at these other sales. If they're spread and curved, that's a 5.
Okay.
If it's a 4 and a 6, it's a 5. And we've seen a bunch of them, haven't we? But what the problem is if you have a soft angle 6 and a slight curve 6, that soft angle won't wear those toes off, and the toes will keep getting like this. So a 6-6 is what we want to avoid. A 4-6 doesn't bother me that much because it's just not going to. What are you
I
scoring?
say he's a 5-5.
Okay. So Al's saying that's a 5-5. That's as good as he wants him. I would say his angle is probably a 5.5, pushing on a 6. We're not allowed to use half numbers yet. But there's a little bit of softness there in that angle. The toes, there's a little bit of curve. Al, did you?
Yeah, but I don't think it's.
You don't think it's okay?
Yeah.
So both, if I could, I would say a 5.5 and a 5.5, and that'd be more accurate because he's not perfect.
I think he's really good on his angle though.
Okay. I'll change the rest of it.
Back leg. It's harder to get it 5.
I thought you as well.
I think he's a pretty good guy.
You don't look like that.
I'll bring it over to you.
So now what? DP.
Post leg.
That's a long time ago, many years ago, we started watching that pink hanging out down there. And we would say, what's his score for, or he's got a droopy pecker. That's our synonym, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Acronym?
Acronym. Yeah, that's the word.
FYI.
So we were looking at that, and then several years ago we said, you know, we had to start scoring that. Now in a horned animal, if an animal is horned, you will almost never see any pink because there's a muscle there that's well developed and it won't come out. That's a prepuce, that's not his penis. That's his foreskin or prepuce. You know, when he relaxes and that muscle relaxes, it just drops. And every polled animal will show a little bit sometime. Our goal is to find the animals that have the least problems and the animals that have the most problems. So, you know, what's his sire? I don't know.
24.
I don't know what that means. But if we look at a lot of 24 sons today and all of them are uptight like that, we're going to say that's pretty good. But Deanna's going to be our DP scorer, and she's probably not going to say that's too good. What are you going to give him?
Since you've been talking, I'd say it's been a 5, but before, when he was pacing back and forth, I had him at a 4 minus.
Or a 3 plus. So let's go 4. Earlier he was hanging it out about that far. So, you know, and that's a subjective job, but her job is to keep her eye on that while we're looking at everything else. Because if we look at everything else, look at, well, that's a great bull, but I missed when he's hanging out like that. So that's why we have one person doing that. I'd like to have 1 or 2 people focused on the feet. Earlier, I mean, through our other deals, I've been focused on the hair coat and flies. So we all have kind of our specialties. But you're going to give him a 4, right? Okay. Disposition. You can tell this guy's really good, right? What would you give him? 5? What's wrong with, I mean, can he be a 5 plus?
Walk up to the
Wait and see when he
Walk up
walks
to the
by.
seat.
See what his bubble is?
I can walk up to this guy and I can touch him. He doesn't do anything. He can walk up to me and he stands right here and looks at me. And I said, okay, you know, this guy doesn't have, he's too good. You know, he doesn't have enough respect for me. And it's going to be these gentle bulls that are going to hurt somebody someday. So you buy a gentle bull and you make a pet out of him, he's going to hurt somebody. So I'm going to mark him down to a 4. I'll give him a 4+, but the only reason I won't give him a 5 is because he doesn't have enough respect for me. And he's shown that several times. As soon as we start doing this position, they need to go.
Bye, buddy.
We like to have them walk past us, and again, that's a 5++, but I have my reasons. Am I right?
I like him.
You don't want that.
That was 8105.
Yeah.